Hey, this is Eternal King, bringing you kind of the day one version of Ramp. So I've already run 3 games with this in Eternal. I won all 3 games. All 3 games were into cycling decks, which traditionally Failure has had a lot of trouble with. I won all 3 games, so looking kind of promising. None of them were medalists, but they were cycling decks, and that's kind of where Failure has struggled, and I felt just fine in every instance. So let's run through the card selection and why I think this deck is pretty decent. Faces of the Old One, obviously the best OG ramp card. 2 mana, permanent ramp, mana crystals will pretty much always be activated, so good card. Again, what else do you want me to say about it? It's basically just, it was an upgrade of Warding Stone when it got printed, and it's an upgrade of Warding Stone now. So it just so happens that when you play this on 2, you're guaranteed to have enough mana to ramp on 5. You know, whether that's Winter's Touch or Wild Mysticism, whatever the case may be, you're going to have enough mana for that. Just off of after playing Faces of the Old One. So that's old tech. It's not new. Let's not spend too much time on that. Invocation of Thunder. So this is your cycle ramp. So once again, it's very clear that Riot is trying to make ramp competitive, and one of those things is by providing card parity with your opponent. So your opponent has cycling tools and they gain card advantage when they do things. Now you get to do things and keep card parity as well. Now the thing that you're doing is much like them, is playing creatures that cycle with spells, and this is the new one, Scholarly Pioneer. Very, very good. You can challenge an Annie, you can challenge a Zoe, you can challenge, well, you know, it's never going to kill an Akshan, but at least, honestly don't drag the Akshan, but Samara, you can drag a Samara, and that might not feel too bad. Again, Prophet, you know, it's another form of cycling where you're getting, you know, the 2/3 body for 3, which is pretty good, and then you're getting the ramp as well. 3 avalanches. This is considered to be an elemental card, and it's which right now there isn't a ton of elemental synergy in this deck, but more importantly, it's a cheap AoE to kind of start leveling up Volibear. And if there is much aggro running around, which, you know, I very much doubt, I'm still going to run the 3 avalanches. And the reason why I want to run 3 avalanches, and the reason why I feel comfortable doing that when you haven't been comfortable doing it before in a ramp deck, is kind of the cards I'm going to go into later, and it's the Targon side of the deck. And it is 3 Sunbursts, deal 6 to a unit. Again, very Volibear, high synergy, silences it as well. But that's old. You know, decent card in a ramp deck. I've run it before as a 3 of. But Seismic Shard on 4, deal 7 to a unit. So it's like you've got, you know, 2 AoE options with Avalanche and It That Stares, which are, you know, pretty standard ramp staples. And then you've also got Sunburst and Seismic Shard for single target removal. So you've got the best of both worlds. You know, now I actually call it day 1 ramp control, because like it actually feels like a control deck now that is functioning the way a control deck is supposed to. You have your single targets, you have your AoE, you've got, you know, both sides of the spectrum covered. You're good into, you've got enough card advantage tools and cycling tools that you're okay into sort of more value-oriented decks, which is definitely the meta. And then you've got your single targets for anything big they play, and you're golden. I get 1 tech card in this list. The tech card I'm going for is Voices of the Old One. All the 3 games that I won was all because of the power of Volibear and Asol being this kind of perfect champion package, and Feel the Rush, of course, being the best spell for a ramp deck. I'm kind of more concerned what happens when I don't draw these cards. So if I've won all 3 games because I had like double Volibear in hand, because I had Feel the Rush in hand, because I had leveled Asol, if those are the games that I won, what would happen if I didn't have those cards? And so that's what Voices is there for. Is it's more hard ramp, and it's just again another cycling tool, because now you can actually have card parity with your opponent. You can have it all. You can have your AoEs for the aggro matchup. You can have your single target removal for all the other matchups, the more value oriented matchups, and you can also have a okay amount of card parity with the opponent. For those, you know, where that's relevant too, and that's going to be most games in this meta. So overall, feels great. Feels great. I'm really happy with this deck. I can't actually over exclaim my happiness, and also the shock of my opponents too, where it's just like, hey, wait, you're doing something, and doing something is bad. Why do you keep winning? And, you know, what you're supposed to do is play a Zoe in your ramp deck and just swing with Zoe 3 times and just cycle with her infinitely. Or you're supposed to play an Auction and cycle with him infinitely. Or you're supposed to play, you know, Samara, or you're supposed to play Songbird, or you're supposed to play all of those cards. That's how you play LOR, right? And finally, we have a deck that's like, no, you know, I have these new tools now. I don't have to go in as hard as I used to, right? You know, I'm ramping and I am doing something, unlike, you know, your deck, but I have, you know, a decent amount of card parity to get me through the matchup. Because Volibear is going to slam down and he's going to nuke 3 things, and even if those are cycling tools, you still get the body, right? And like, Volibear is the real winner here. And when they kill that Volibear, play a second Volibear and nuke their face. You're pretty happy to do that as well. You're very happy to nuke their face. So it's been surprisingly good on tempo. You know, again, the opponent was like Zoe, swing, swing, swing. You know, removal spam, all these, you know, cycle, 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 like all these kind of meta things in LOR, which is just infinite card advantage, do nothing decks. And in each of those instances, I was able to surprise them with the, you know, amount of tools at my disposal. Rise comes down, Sunburst, you know, again, I might whiff on drawing that, but man, if even better than Sunburst, Seismic Shard on 4 for 4 mana. That's going to feel really good. When that Rise comes down, when that Kindred comes down, when anything comes down that is kind of a value champion in that kind of high, you know, mid-range mana slot, I will nuke it. Hell, I'll nuke a Jax with this. I will nuke an Auction with this. I am very happy to do so. I don't care that it's 2 mana, you know, advantage for them. Man, I used to have to spend so much more mana than that. It's not even funny. So again, very happy to have the Seismic Shard. Very happy to pair that with the Sunburst as kind of this single target removal package. Very happy to have, you know, the AoE, just because we need something for Volibear. So, you know, Avalanche at the stairs in case, you know, we run into any Pirate aggro. It is possible to happen. Pirate aggro still has a very good win rate in Eternal, so you got to be prepared for that. And, you know, kind of getting us there as well is that we have a pretty decent defense on the 3 mana slot, right? 2 3s on 3 in both cases. Kind of hard for the opponent to deal with. So overall, you know, very happy. You know, the voices is totally optional. Totally optional. I can't for the life of me think of what else I'd want to run there. You know, I think Stormbringer's not necessary. I think we've got the AoE covered. I think we've got the single target covered. If you want one buried nice, go for it. But again, you know, when you have the Seismic Shard and the Sunburst, you know, the opponent's got to be playing some pretty big stuff pretty consistently before you feel like Buried in Ice isn't necessary. But absolutely, one Buried in Ice, just to pair with it that stairs, you know, go for it. Yeah, you know, if you feel more comfortable with this, go with this. I think this is fine. So yeah, that's day 1, and it feels pretty great. I gotta say, Volibear, my favorite card ever released in LOR, and this is Eternal King signing out. You know, give those do-nothing players a little run for their money.